Hello, I'm Chris Bonnello, author of AutisticNotWeird.com, and since obviously this is my first video, I thought I'd answer a couple of basic questions to give you a bit of background as to who I am. I'm a former primary school teacher and have worked in special education, and on top of that I've got Asperger's syndrome myself, so autism seems to be following me everywhere in my personal and professional life. Although for most of my adult years I kind of kept my autism a secret. I mean, yeah, fair enough, a lot of teachers I worked with kind of worked it out just by knowing me, but by and large only ever really told my friends or people who I thought really needed to know. Then when I left teaching I decided, well, you know what, there can't be many autistic teachers out there who are willing to share their insights, so I went public with my Asperger's syndrome and made AutisticNotWeird.com. Well, if you live somewhere in the Nottinghamshire area, then yeah, I probably did. Autistic Not Weird has two different reasons for existing. First of all is to help people understand more about autism, because we're in the middle of a bit of a transition phase right now where pretty much everyone has heard of autism, but not everyone understands exactly what it is or how it can affect so many different people in so many different ways. And the second reason, the more important one in my opinion, is to help other autistic people, not least youngsters growing up on the spectrum or their parents. Now, I've been there myself, I've been there, done that, I've literally got the t-shirt. And I know that growing up isn't the easiest of things no matter what kind of brain you have. But if you grow up with the feeling of being isolated or being told you're different, or if you experience people who seem to disapprove of your whole personality for some reason, then becoming the best kind of adult you can be is a bit more of a challenge. Now, to date, most of my successful articles seem to be the ones that are offering advice to youngsters on the spectrum, which I think is pretty revealing. I think a lot of people are out there looking for that kind of advice. I grew up with Asperger's before anyone really knew what it was. I mean, back in those days, being autistic meant you must have had severe learning difficulties, and if you could read, write, do maths, talk, then how could you possibly have had any kind of special needs? If you didn't get other people, you must have just been immature. Even the educational psychologist who assessed me at the age of 10, he wrote down all the symptoms of Asperger's syndrome that we recognise today, and then diagnosed me as having slightly odd personality. I mean, yeah, thanks for that. I'm not even kidding, that was a direct quote from the report they wrote down about me, and then I grew up just believing I was weird. I went from a child who had his individual personality traits and his little quirks to a teenager who was odd and didn't fit in, to an adult who just didn't get other adults. Never mind the fact that other adults didn't seem to get me either, but there were more of them than there were of me, so obviously they were right. But anyway, these days, knowing about my autism has helped me learn a lot more about myself, and it's helped me to realise that my weirdness is just neurology, and it's not me failing to be the right kind of me. Well, I don't know what an autistic person's supposed to look like. I mean, I can talk, I can dress myself, I've got 2 university degrees and I'm about to start a 3rd, and I look like a fairly regular guy just with a longer nose. I mean, my normality comes from the fact that I've spent far too many years trying not to look weird in front of other people. In fact, I've often heard it said that autistic people actually know more about being normal than normal people do, because we're the ones who have had to study it. We're the ones who have had to do our research to try and not look like the odd ones out. I prefer Chris. Since I started Autistic Not Weird, I've been making myself available for leading talks and training seminars, and what sets me apart is that I can approach the subject of autism from 2 different angles, both my teaching experience and my own personal perspective. And I'm also not afraid to talk about the issues that autistic youngsters face but either can't express or don't really feel like talking about. Now, at time of recording, the feedback from individual listeners of my talks has been literally 100% positive. So if you want to get in contact, please do, either via the website or via the Facebook page, or send a message to the email address autisticnotweird@hotmail.com. Yep, that's it for this video. Links to Autistic Not Weird and all of its other pages are in the description below. Also, according to YouTube etiquette, I'm supposed to ask everyone to click subscribe, so please click subscribe. And thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way this far, and see you on Autistic Not Weird. Take care.